Good day everyone, welcome to MCTLE 102. I am Trexie Cantuba, your facilitator for today. This time we are going to talk about implement the lesson. Now, are you ready? Great! Come and join me and let us explore together. A lesson plan is the instructor's roadmap of what students need to learn and how it will be done effectively during the class time. Then, you can design appropriate learning activities and develop strategies to obtain feedback on students' learning. Having a carefully constructed lesson plan for each 3-hour lesson allows you to enter the classroom with more confidence and maximizes your chance of having a meaningful learning experience with your students. A successful lesson plan addresses and integrates 3 key components. First, the learning objectives. Second is the learning activities, and last is the assessment to check for students' understanding. A lesson plan provides you with a general outline of your teaching goals, learning objectives, and means to accomplish them, and is by no means exhaustive. A productive lesson is not one in which everything goes exactly as planned, but one in which both students and instructor learn from each other. In implementing the lesson plan, teachers have 3 main steps: the before class, during class, and after the class. Before class, here is the steps for preparing a lesson plan. Listed below are the steps for preparing your lesson plan before your class. First, identifying the learning objectives. So before you plan your lesson, you will first need to identify the learning objectives for the lesson. A learning objectives describe what the learner will know or able to do after the learning experience rather than what the learner will be exposed to during the instructions. Typically, it is written in a language that is easily understood by students and clearly related to the program learning outcomes. The Bloom's Revised Taxonomy of Educational Objectives is a useful resource for crafting learning objectives that are demonstrable and measurable. The second step is plan the specific learning activities. When planning learning activities, you should consider the types of activities students will need to engage in order to develop the skills and knowledge required to demonstrate effective learning in the course. Learning activities should be directly related to learning objectives of the course and provide experiences that will enable students to engage in, practice, and gain feedback on specific progress towards those objectives. So as you plan your learning activities, estimate how much time you will spend on each. Build in time for extended explanation or discussion, but also be prepared to move on quickly to different applications or problems, and to identify strategies that check for your understanding. It is important that each learning activity in the lesson must be aligned to the lesson learning objectives, meaningfully engage students in active, constructive, authentic, and collaborative ways, and useful where the students is able to take what they have learned from engaging with the activity and use it in another context or for another purpose. The third step is plan to assess a student understanding. Assessment like tests, papers, problem sets, and performances provide opportunities for students to demonstrate and practice the knowledge and skills articulated in the learning objectives, and for instructors to offer targeted feedback that can guide further learning. Planning for assessment allows you to find out whether your students are learning. It involves making decisions about giving feedback to students on how to improve their learning, as well as giving feedback to instructors on how to refine their teaching. And the fourth step is to plan to sequence the lesson in an engaging and meaningful manner. Robert Gagne proposed a 9-step process called the events of instruction, which is useful for planning the sequence of your lesson. Using Gagne's 9 events in conjunction with Bloom's revised taxonomy of educational objectives aids in designing engaging and meaningful instruction. So the following is the 9-step process proposed by Robert Gagne. First, the gain attention. So it obtains students' attention so that they will watch and listen while the instructor presents the learning content. It might be present a story or a problem to be solved. So utilize icebreaker activities, current news and events, case studies, YouTube videos, and so on. The objective is to quickly grab student attention and interest in the topic. Utilizing technologies such as clickers and survey to ask leading question prior to lecture, survey opinion, or gain a response to a controversial questions. Second is to inform learner of objectives. Allow students to organize their thoughts regarding what they are about to see, hear, and do. Include learning activities in lecture slides, the syllabus, and in instructions for activities, projects, and papers. So the third one is to stimulate recall of prior knowledge. So it helps students make sense of new information by relating it to something they already know or something they have already experienced. Recall events from previous lecture, integrate results of activities into the current topic, and relate previous information to the current topic. So ask students about their understanding of previous concepts. The fourth one is to present new content. So utilize a variety of methods including lecture, readings, activities, projects, multimedia, and others. In here, Bloom's revised taxonomy can be used to help sequence the lesson by helping you chunk them into levels of difficulty. So the next one is provide guidance. Advise students of strategies to aid them in learning content and of resources available. With learning guidance, the rate of learning increases because the students are less likely to lose time or become frustrated by basing performance on incorrect facts or poorly understand concepts. So provide instructional support as needed. The sixth step is practice. It allows students to apply knowledge and skills learned. It also allows students to apply knowledge in group or individual activity. So facilitate student elaborations, ask students to elaborate or explain details, and provide more complexity to their responses. The seventh step is to provide feedback. Provide immediate feedback of students' performance to assess and facilitate learning. Consider using group or class level feedback. The eighth step is to assess performance. To evaluate the effectiveness of the instructional events, test to see if the expected learning outcomes have been achieved. Performance should be based on previously stated objectives. Utilize a variety of assessment methods including exam or quizzes, written assignments, projects, and so on. And the last step is to enhance retention and transfer. So it allows students to apply information to personal context. This increases retention by personalizing information. It provides opportunities for students to relate coursework to their personal experiences. Then, let us move on during the class. It is all about presenting your lesson plan. So, letting your students know what they will be learning and doing in a class will help keep them more engaged and on track. Providing a meaningful organization of the class time can help students not only remember better, but also follow your presentation and understand the rationale behind the planned learning activities. You can share your lesson plan by writing a brief agenda on the whiteboard or telling students explicitly what they will be learning, and the last step in implementing the lesson is after the class. It is all about reflecting on your lesson plan. So, take a few minutes after each class to reflect on what worked well and why, and what you could have done differently. Identifying successful and less successful organization of class time and activities would make it easier to adjust to the contingencies of the classroom. If needed, revise the lesson plan. And now, this is the end of my discussion. Thank you for watching. I will see you again on our next topic.